What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for stopping in today. We got a little bit of Blood Red Skies coverage for you. I know it's been a while since we had a little bit of that, but and we're picking up where we kind of left off, paused our little series here reviewing the scenarios for the game. So we are picking up with Scenario 4, Escort Duty. So quite a few details on this one, and we'll get into it and sort of suggested forces and things like that, but we'll cover everything in detail and walk you guys through it. So here, the players with the largest number, or the player with the largest number of planes in their force, is considered to be the escorting player. If the numbers are equal, each player rolls a dice for initiative, and the lower one is the escorting. The escorting player deploys in two elements of equal size, so each element must entirely comprise planes from the same squadron. So the escorting player is also assigned one extra element of either up to 6 single-engine bombers, or 3 twin or tri-engine bombers, or up to 2 4-engine bombers. So again, we're still waiting on some of those to actually have like real models and stuff like that, but nonetheless, a lot of you guys out there with 3D printers have been making your own stuff already anyway. But nonetheless, cool stuff there. So this is, again, an escort mission, so get to basically fly a bomber escort. So all the bombers form a single squadron of their own. Use markers for them if no models are available. The intercepting player may deploy a maximum of 3 elements and must deploy a minimum of 2 elements. Each element must comprise 2 or more planes from the same squadron. So deployment sequence, so again, lots of little bits here before we actually even get into the game. So the escorting player begins by selecting one edge of the edge of the table, and deploying their bomber element within 3 inches of it. The bomber element must be deployed at least 9 from the table sides. Okay, so from there then, the first element of escorts is deployed by the escorting player anywhere within 18 inches of the same table edge. If the escorting element consists entirely of twin-engine aircraft or planes with the deep pockets trait, the element may be deployed anywhere on the table instead, which is pretty interesting there. You can certainly throw your opponent off there, just depending on where you decide to show up there. So and it can really mess with maybe some of the sort of intercept plans that the intercepting player might be trying to do. Going from there, the second escorting element is placed in high cover, with the high cover marker placed anywhere on the table edge, on any table edge, by the opposing player. And then finally, the intercepting player then deploys one of his elements as a high cover marker anywhere on any table edge. The remainder of his elements are deployed on the tabletop more than 21 inches from any enemy plane. So again, some of these numbers are just a little bit weird getting used to, right? So a lot of times in games, things will be like in sort of intervals of 6, but here we have 21 inches and 3 and 9 and so on and so forth. So it just takes a little bit of getting used to. Again, we're dealing with not a typical game and models and scale and all that. So anyway, starting advantage level. So the escorting player can opt to have either all escorts begin advantaged and all bombers disadvantaged, or all bombers advantaged and all escorts disadvantaged. So some interesting choices there, certainly at the start of the game. And again, depending on where you're deploying the escorts and where and what the opponent is bringing to the table as well. Finally, roll a d6 for each intercepting plane on the table. 1 to 2 disadvantage, 3 to 4 neutral, and 5 to 6 advantage. We've seen that in several scenarios so far, so pretty easy stuff there. And then the special rules. So the bombers are carrying bomb loads and are counted as laden. So place a marker on the aircraft base. The bomb-shaped cutouts left over from the pilot skill discs are ideal for that, to show it's laden. Or again, you can just use certain colored dice or tokens, whatever is handy and makes sense and that you guys can both agree on. Then the following rules apply when an aircraft is laden. So pilots of laden aircraft are -1 to the pilot skill. Forward firepower may not be used, although turrets can still shoot. Laden aircraft reduce their speed by 1, so essentially in a 50 mile per hour increment if you need to check real speed. And then laden aircraft may not climb for advantage, so something to keep in mind there, which may again influence your decision here to potentially start your bombers as disadvantaged, right? If they can't climb, it's pretty rough. So it seems like it would make more sense to start them advantaged and just let your escorts climb instead. Then, a laden aircraft can opt to remove its laden marker when it activates to represent it ditching its bombs prematurely. So again, you do have that option, but it seems like you would probably want to, in most cases, keep your bombs and make that bomb run. Note that the normal squadron morale rules apply to the bombers. Um, accumulated boom chits can still scatter them. This means ditching ordnance from threatened bombers can be a smart move if it can prevent their destruction. So again, something to keep in mind, and you do have some options there to prevent the loss of the plane at least, or make it a little bit harder for that to happen. The escorts. The escort high cover element may not move onto the table on the first turn. They have many other bombers to cover off table and won't be available until things get desperate. And then the escort's fuel. So the escorts will have to burn considerably more fuel staying with the bombers until contact. All escorting squadrons, including those with elements only in high cover, start the scenario with one boom chit already applied to them. So that's pretty rough there. So definitely putting some pressure on the defending, the escorting players, we should say. Leaving the battle area. So bombers that exit the table leave the scenario altogether. No boom chits are inflicted for planes lost in this way. And then continuing on here, so if an escort or interceptor leaves the table, it re-enters play on the following turn if it passes a maneuver test. Redeploy the plane anywhere along the edge it left from in high cover. If the test has failed, the plane will then return to base, inflicting one boom chit on its squadron for each plane lost that way, which is pretty rough. If they could get forced off. Game length is 6 turns, and then finally victory. So how do you win here? So if half or more of the bombers survive with bombs still on board, the escorting player wins. So you're not necessarily trying to get any particular where or drop bombs on any particular point in this mission. This is basically just a survival thing for the escorting team here. And then any other result is a victory for the intercepting player. So again, half or more of the bombers need to survive, and so really for you as the intercepting player, it's all about getting in there doing damage. Now you're not getting any points whatsoever for destroying the escorting planes, but destroying them will obviously make it a little bit easier to then engage the bombers safely without having to worry about dodging fighters and engaging with them, while still kind of like having to deal with any turret fire and stuff that the bombers could throw at you. So that being said, depending on what kind of plans you're bringing as the intercepting player, could be interesting to sort of just make like some very aggressive sort of attack runs on a bomber and just pour everything you can into it until it's essentially gone. And just start piling up boom chits here and there as you can. But again, that's just the interesting thing. You've got to focus on that while again avoiding the enemy planes, and depending on what the two forces are consisting of, what sort of part of the war, early, mid, late, and just other types of matchups there. So could really present for some interesting and diverse scenarios, and really is a good test of just how well you can protect if you're the escorting player there, and sort of deal with a lot more moving pieces in that sense, and kind of coordinate everything together. And then you as the intercepting player, it's all about attack, but really you have to be smart about it. And in many ways you have the tougher job, just because again you have bombers to take down, which are just going to let you shoot away at them without some sort of return fire. Via turrets if they have it, and then all the while you're still being chased by the escorts and stuff like that. But with the escorts starting with boom chits already on them, again, you only have 6 turns to get all this stuff done. So initially, maybe like a turn or two of sort of aggressive hunting down of maybe a couple escort planes, maybe you can drop a few, and then from there just try to deal with the enemy bombers as fast as you can. Again, you got to kill more than half, and depending on what all is brought here, that could be pretty rough. So 6 single engine bombers, obviously there's a lot of things floating around there. You got to kill 3 of them, or actually is it half or more, so yeah, three more there. It gets a little bit tougher though the bigger the planes get, right? 3 twin or tri-engine bombers, well, you got to kill 2 of them. You can't really kill 1.5. And then the 4-engine bombers is interesting again, just because you only got to kill 1, but it is a big beast to bring down. So nonetheless, just a fun mission overall, and again would be worth playing sort of both sides there. Like you play interceptors one mission or one game, and then swap, and or if you both have access to bombers and the right kind of pieces for this, it would be easier to do that. But then, yeah, you could swap and then take on the escort duty. That way, both players get to experience both parts of this mission, and just again, really fun, something different instead of just killing everything and dogfights here. So again, just bringing in another element that really is a fun part of the game, and certainly will be more fun once we start getting more and larger bombers for the game. So hope you guys enjoyed our little review here. If you have played this mission a lot, let us know what you've actually run, which forces, which kind of bombers, and what in your mind or your experience has worked better for intercepting. Is it more fun to play this early, mid, or late war? What theaters? Let us know in the comments, guys. Be looking forward to hearing from you. Leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Smash those buttons there. And then if you do want to support the channel a little bit more, if you check the link in the description, head over to Warlord from there. And if you guys pick anything up, that comes back and helps support the channel a little bit. So again, thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Hope you enjoyed our little look here at Scenario 4. And we will be back soon with 5 and onward as we continue reviewing all the scenarios for Blood Red Skies. Take care.